Hey folks, I recently watched a video on YouTube made by a fellow South African, a black man who runs a channel called Gutful. Ironically enough, Gutful is the Afrikaans slang expression that people say when they've had enough, when the situation has become intolerable. Gutful, literally translated, means that the hole is filled and that it cannot take any more. But in this video, this black man made a kind of open letter to the African National Congress, South Africa's ruling party, in which he asked if members of the ANC are aware of what they've done to South Africa. He talked about the hopelessness faced by South African youth who, even after finishing school, if they even get that far, realize that there are no opportunities for them and that there is nothing to look forward to in their future. He also talked about the collapse of South Africa's national infrastructure, which at one time was considered some of the best in the entire world. And over, he asked the question of the ANC if they know what they've done to this country. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, even though I'm not currently wearing a hat, and say that yes, the ANC is fully aware of what they've done to South Africa, and I'm going to explain why. Fundamentally, the ANC is a Soviet communist movement. That is where their ideology comes from. That is where their philosophical training was received. They were trained by the Russians and the Cubans. And so, what you must understand is that communism as an ideology has always been about central power and central control. The members of the inner circle of the party, whichever party it happens to be. In this case, it's the ANC, but the same pattern plays out everywhere communism has been allowed to take hold. What happens is that the members of the inner circle live like royalty, while the vast majority of the population of the nation they control lives in hell. And the collapse of South Africa has been intentional. This is not by accident. Now, I'm not saying that there are not incompetent ANC cadres, because of course there are. Incompetence is part of it. But if you believe that incompetence is the only reason for South Africa's collapse, you are sorely mistaken and quite naive, because the inner members, the executive of the ANC, know exactly what they are doing. There is a reason why, unless you are somehow politically connected, it is so extremely difficult to start and run a successful business in South Africa. That is because they want the state, meaning themselves, to have monopolistic control over the economy. There is a reason that our infrastructure continues to collapse, and that is because the state does not want private bodies or private institutions to repair things that are broken. They want monopoly over everything, even if it does not work. Because remember, the ANC is so willfully corrupt that no matter how bad life in South Africa gets for the average citizen, they themselves will be fine. They will live in comfort and they will never have to face the consequences of the damage they've done. You see, communist leaders don't care about the people they rule over. All of this talk of equality, human flourishing, and a better life for all that the ANC does at any given opportunity, it's all bullshit. They are a gang and they care only about themselves and their families. They will happily let millions of blacks, and I do mean blacks because I'm not speaking about this just as an angry white guy. I'm trying here to express the facts of the situation as they stand. And the facts are that as long as the ANC and their families are comfortable and happy in their own lives, they will allow blacks, ordinary blacks, to starve like dogs in the street. They do not care about you. They do not care about the overall well being of the country as a whole. And they will watch your families die while they live in mansions. That is the situation in which we find ourselves. That is the truth. And quite frankly, it's going to take a miracle for things to change, because the voting population has been so dumbed down and so desensitized that millions of people are now reliant on the state simply to exist. They have no other way to support themselves. They don't have any education, they don't have any skills, and they don't have any hope. So, government as parent is their only option. And that situation is exactly what the ANC wants. So, in summary, to answer Khatful's question, yes, the ANC knows exactly what they've done to South Africa, and they have done it on purpose. For now, farewell.